What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and if you've been on this channel before, you're probably wondering to yourself right now, Corbin, what is up with the scruff on your face? Well, it's because I decided to stop shaving whenever the Red Sox win. So if they continue to win, I'm going to continue to grow out this disgusting beard. And that's been the case because the Red Sox had another dominant series in Cleveland. They beat the Cleveland Indians 3-0 in that series. They are now on a 7-series win streak as well as a 7-game win streak. They are also now the second best team in the American League East. And on top of that, they are the top wild card spot in the division over 1.5 games. Safe to say it was a fantastic series in Cleveland. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about everything that happened in Cleveland. We're going to talk about the good, we're going to talk about some of the things that concern me, and we're going to talk about why the Red Sox are so hot right now and how they can continue this hot streak as they go forward and face probably more dominant teams. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day, and I promise I don't have this beard the entire time. Also, make sure you guys are hitting the like button on these videos. It is the best way to help these videos out, and if you enjoy it, make sure you share with a friend who loves the Red Sox as much as you do. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. There is so much to talk about on either side of the ball in this series, but we're going to start with the offense because I think there's a little bit more storylines there. And the first person we have to talk about in this series is Jaren Durant, because in this series, Jaren Durant broke out a little bit. He's been good for the Red Sox since Kike went down, but he had a breakout series, in my opinion, in Cleveland. He went 6 for 15 in this series. That is hitting over 400. He had a few RBIs in this series. He had a few runs in this series. He had a few stolen bases in this series. He had a leaping catch or two in this series, and he has truly come out to be a key factor in these Red Sox wins. When Kike Hernandez comes back, there is going to be a very difficult conversation for the Red Sox at that point, and I honestly don't see how you can logically put Durant down at this point. So I have no idea what's going to happen there, but we got to highlight Durant because he's killing it right now for the Red Sox. We also have to talk about Verdugo in this series because he had an absolute pimp job of a home run in the second game of this series. The ball was hit about 450 feet, and I mean, just look at this strut. How can you hate that strut? If that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what will. And besides that though, he had a couple of doubles in this series, and he hit 454 in this series. Alex Verdugo being hot for this Red Sox team is super important. I am a little bit cautiously optimistic about Alex Verdugo though, just because we've seen this sort of hot streak from him before in this season, and he's cooled off. But we know he has the tools to continue this hot streak, so that's why I'm still optimistic about him. Vasquez is another guy who has found himself on this highlight reel again and again in the last couple of weeks. He had a couple of clutch hits, including a double in this series. Devers obviously is going to be on an offensive highlight reel because when isn't he? He had an absolute bomb in this series as well, and another RBI to add on top of that. Christian Arroyo had himself a game in this series. The first game that he came back, I think it was really the only game he was relevant in, but either way, he had a home run, he had an RBI single and an RBI hit by pitch, so he's making himself a case to stay on this Red Sox team. Again, gonna be a really tough decision. Besides that, other notable players, JD and Story, both had 2 RBIs in the last game of this series. JD found a way out of a slump for himself. He had been struggling a little bit at the plate lately, but like JD tends to do, he hits baseballs again. And Trevor Story, who's been a little bit of a surprise lately. Obviously, we expect great things from him, but the consistency that we have been lacking all season seems to be coming together a little bit. He's not hitting absolute tank jobs or setting records, but he's getting on base, he's stealing bases, he's driving runs in, and this was kind of the Trevor Story we signed up to see. So all in all, I don't know how you can pick apart this offense right now and find something you don't like. This is something that I'm going to say till I am blue in the face. When everyone on this Red Sox team, all 9 batters, are hitting the way they are hitting right now, they are one of the most unbeatable teams in the entire league. Now, this is something that obviously you're going to have to maintain if you want to win games. The Red Sox have been winning and losing these games by a decent margin, and we're going to talk about the pitching in a second, but to continue to win these games, especially against the opponents that are coming up, the Toronto Blue Jays, the Rays, the Yankees, those guys, you're going to have to continue mashing the balls, and it's going to be a much tougher pitching. But they did get to Shane Bieber, who is a top 5 pitcher in the league in this series, so I have confidence, a lot of confidence actually, going forward with this Red Sox offense. Let's talk about the other side of the ball now, the pitching side of this series. series. The starting pitching in this series remained absolutely dominant. Nick Pivetta went 7 innings, allowing 2 and striking out 4. And there is a legitimately serious case to put Nick Pivetta in the All-Star game at this point. His turnaround has been absolutely incredible. In my opinion, right now, he is the full-on ace of this team. Until Evaldi can come back and truly prove that he's better than Nick Pivetta, and until Sale gets back and can prove that he is original Chris Sale that we signed back in 2019, Nick Pivetta, in my opinion, is the ace of the Boston Red Sox. You had Josh Winkowski go in this second game, who has really, he's had some tough opponents, but they haven't been this caliber tough. Guys that were fighting for in an AL wildcard spot, and he continued to perform really well. He went 5 1/3, allowing 2 and striking out 4 as well. And again, this is a guy who hasn't really faced a ton of great teams before, so to see him continue to put up the stat lines that we want and expect from Winkowski is fantastic. He gets me so excited for the future of this Boston Red Sox pitching staff, and he's going to get a couple more starts too against even more challenging opponents, so I'm really excited to see that sort of growth that he's going to have in the next couple of weeks here. And finally, Rich Hill closed this series out, and he himself had another dominant performance. He went 6 innings, allowed 1 earned run, and struck out 5, and this might have honestly been Rich Hill's best start of the year. He's obviously had more dominant starts, but to be in this sort of place where you're on the verge of sweeping the Cleveland Guardians, you're battling an opponent that has been fairly similar to you in terms of stats all year, and to go out and to shove it like that is fantastic. I don't expect this every week from Rich Hill, but it is a gift when you get it, and I love it when Rich Hill is throwing the ball well. The starting pitching at the beginning of the year was the lone bright spot on this Red Sox team, and what gives me so much confidence about this Red Sox team is that when the offense got hot, this pitching staff continued their dominance, and that is something that is super important, especially again going in and facing these guys coming up who are offensive juggernauts in the league. And so I personally am very confident in this pitching staff right now, but let me know down below, what do you think? The bullpen, on the other hand, has not been the bright spot all year. However, in the last couple of series, they have been a bright spot. They only let up 2 runs in the entirety of this series, one by Houck and one by Robles. And speaking of Tanner Houck, he got every single save opportunity in this series, and he capitalized on every single one. The first game was a little bit rocky, but other than that, it was really smooth sailing for Tanner Houck. Unfortunately, he won't be joining Toronto, which leads me to another guy I want to highlight, Schreiber, who continues his absolute dominance of hitters in this league. He is officially under 160 for opponent batting average, and Alex Cora already came out and said that because Houck can't make the trip, that Schreiber will be named the closer for the Toronto series. And in my opinion, he could come out of this Toronto series being the full-time closer for the Red Sox. He could take over that job for Tanner Houck. All in all, this was just an absolutely dominant performance by the Boston Red Sox. And just because we're celebrating these wins doesn't mean that everyone knows it's about to get a lot harder, right? We still have a lot of work to do in this league, and there's still a lot of season left, but I just want you guys to take a second and breathe, right? We have been frustrated the entire year with this Red Sox team. To see what they are doing now and to see what they can accomplish and look towards the future of this Red Sox team is something that should be celebrated, and we should be very happy about this. Celebrate these wins, get ready for the next battle. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this Red Sox series against Cleveland. What do you think of the Red Sox in general, and how do you think this success is going to go long term? Let me know all your thoughts on the Red Sox down below. As always, if you've made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, if you're new here, Red Sox every day, plus you made it to the end of this video, you might as well subscribe. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Like I said in the beginning, it's the best way to help this channel out. And if you made it to the end of this video, you clearly enjoyed it, send it to a friend who you think loves the Red Sox as much as you do, because there's a good chance they'll enjoy it too. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.